Let's talk about Woodstock. We have another development. Baby, this thing ain't dead just yet. And by the way, it looks like it is at its best opportunity to actually happen. So for all you naysayers out there, why are you talking about this? It's dead. They're going to cancel it anyway. Oh, it's alive, baby. Woodstock 50 is alive and kicking. They're talking about moving it down to Maryland now. This is the story. So here's the thing. Spent a good amount of the morning looking into this, got the team on it and everything else, and I have all the details for you. We're going to clarify a lot because a lot of people are saying a lot of different things, and some of it is not true. It is not definite yet because it's Woodstock. It's not definite yet that it is going down to Maryland, but the Merriweather Post Pavilion would be the targeted venue for Woodstock 50. So let me lay out for you everything that's going on right now and where we stand, because a lot of statements, we're in the social media era. We're just looking for clicks. I have all the correct information, and I'm going to lay it out for you right now as we see fit here on this beautiful Friday morning on the Morning Show with Anthony. They contacted Merriweather Post Pavilion a little while ago, a gentleman by the name of Seth Hurwitz. He runs the Post Pavilion. He runs the 930 Club down there in the Washington, D.C. area. Big independent promoter, venues, great company from what I understand. So they have the Merriweather Post Pavilion. And Woodstock 50 contacted them a while ago. They were like, hey, obviously what's going on. Can we get something? Can we work something out? They said, yes, we are open to it. So it's not done and solidified just yet. A lot of stuff to pick through. What is happening? Who's going down? Who's not going down? Seating capacity. Let's dive right into all of this right now on your EHM Daily Music Note. So they can move the festival down there. Merriweather Post Pavilion is available. There's a Smashing Pumpkins Liam Gallagher show on the Saturday. Probably can get moved, right? The festival has all the contracts. All the people have the dates available. Here's where some of that gets tricky. It's been reported in the contracts that the language states that the artists must perform at Watkins Glen. So a lot of people are reporting, well, if it's not at Watkins Glen, then the artists don't have to perform. And that very well may be true. But the fact of the matter is you're going to look not so great, depending on how Woodstock 50 shakes out. But artists are going to really worry about this, and that's why mum is the word this morning. Nobody is saying anything except for one artist about whether or not they're going to go down to Maryland and perform at the festival, because you are going to look horrible if you take this money, if you get paid and you cash that check, baby, and you don't go and you perform. You're going to look pretty bad. That's a bad look. Now, legally, can you do it? According to the reports and the contracts, sounds like you can. But image, which artists are always concerned with, is something to worry about. John Fogerty is out. He has said that he is the first artist to publicly come out in Variety and say he is not going to go down to Maryland if the festival were to move down there. Through a statement late last night, John Fogerty said, quote, John Fogerty knows where he will be for the anniversary weekend of Woodstock, end quote. And he will be up at the other festival, the original site, the thing that they're doing at the at where the original Woodstock took place. Fogerty says, the statement goes on to say, as Fogerty says in his song, he'll stop the rain. No more confusion on the ground. When John took the call from organizers in Woodstock 69 and was asked to play the festival, he accepted. He and his band were the first act to sign up for the festival, leading other iconic bands to follow. So now 50 years later, John is going back to the original site where his name appears on a plaque commemorating that weekend. John will celebrate his own 50th anniversary as well as Woodstock's together at Bethel on August 18th, back at the original site that he stepped foot on 50 years ago, nearly to the day. So John was one of the few artists that were scheduled for both the Woodstock Festival and the Bethel Woods celebration, and he's going to honor the Bethel Woods thing. By the way, playing both of them was easy when they were 2.5 hours away. Upstate New York to Maryland, that's a whole entire different story. He had another gig booked, so I do understand. Now, as far as the rest of the artists goes, I haven't looked through all of their itineraries, so I don't know. A lot of times artists are routed. They don't shoot from, one side of the world to the other or one side of the country to the other. Now, upstate New York is not as drastic as, upstate New York to Maryland is not as drastic as New York to California, but still, it might put a crimp in some of the touring schedules. So that might be some of the reasons why some of the artists pull out. If an artist has nothing going on around the festival, takes the money, and doesn't go, that might be a bad look for them. That might be a really, really bad look for them. So we'll have to wait and see where the artists on this all shake out. But I will say there was like a rush for everybody to go out and get comments from the agents who hold their artists' contracts, and they're not saying anything. They want to see how this plays out. It's not done just yet. Here's where we get a little funky with some of the details. Merriweather Post Pavilion holds 20,000 people during the week. On the weekends, their permits go up to 32,500. Why? Well, it's in a legit working city, and you can't pump 32,000 people through that while people are leaving, going home from work and all that other thing. So they can fit 20,000 during the week and 32,500 on the weekend, which means that for the Friday event, at least, you can only open up 20,000 seats in the venue. On Saturday and Sunday, you can open up 32,500 seats. On Saturday, you have the Smashing Pumpkins show. So there's a lot of things to figure out here. A lot of things to move around. Do you just throw the Pumpkins into the mix? Are they just a part of the festival? Can you pull it off economically, doing 20,000 on Friday and 32,500 on Saturday and Sunday? I will say, if you just sold 32,500 tickets, if you just sold a package where it was like, let's say there's a time, there is a time crunch. Let's say they just say, hey, we can't worry about selling individual days. We're just going to sell a 3-day ticket. That is it. Here you go. Even if you could fit in 32,500 on all 3 days, you're talking about $1,000 ticket just to break even, because they paid $32 million out to the artists. And as far as they're concerned, that's most likely gone. They'll never see that money back. So there's a lot of things at play here. Where do you price? Now, ticket breakdowns, as we discussed, people are not going to sit out on the lawn and pay $1,000. I just don't foresee that happening. So you still have to have a $400 or $500 ticket, which means that your front rows and your pits have to be a ridiculous amount of money. You still have to figure out what the foo-foo VIP packages are going to be, because if you're going to go out and command $5,000 for a ticket, which it kind of seems like that's what you're going to have to do to make this thing all break out even, just to pay the artists. If you're going to do that, you got to have some good, solid amenities to go along with this. I mean, there is a lot still up for grabs that needs to be figured out here. Hotels, like I said, VIP areas, all kinds of accommodations. Now, the good thing is, it is a beautiful venue. Merriweather Post Pavilion, gorgeous. Just recently renovated, has everything you need. They already said that they would produce the show, because they can. They have lighting, they have sound, they can produce it all in-house. So Woodstock wouldn't need a production partner, which is great, because by my count, they've lost at least 2, if not 3, if I remember correctly. Producers have pulled out, and you won't have to worry about camping, because you're in the middle of Maryland and you're near Washington, D.C., and you have plenty of options for people to stay in hotels, so on and so forth. They're a working venue. They do not need to apply for any sort of permits, any additional permits. They already have the permits. As long as they stay at 20,000 on Friday and 32,500 on Saturday and Sunday, they are fine. They are absolutely fine. Here's what Seth had to say about what's going on with Woodstock, and I quote, "Basically, what I have to say is they approached us about finding a venue in D.C. I said Merriweather is available. We have a show booked that day. There's still, on the Saturday, there's still some things we have to work around. We're not sure if we'll do all those days or not. Which of those 3 days we'll actually do is still being talked about, but my role is merely as the venue. And we would help obviously produce the show in-house for them if they bring us the show. But as far as the content is concerned, we have nothing to do with that. That is all them. So moving it, what artists would actually come, there's a lot to be talked about. A couple of articles pointed out that the festival is really going to point its direction, its focus on the charitable aspect, which there always was. And apparently climate change is going to be a big part of that. So they're going to really sort of lean on, political values and, do-gooderness and all that kind of stuff to kind of keep that good cheer, keep that spirit up of like, if you're killing this, you're killing this cause. They're trying to get people on their side. So they're going to really lean towards that. As we talked about previously on morning show vlogs, they're going to obviously lean on the fact that they have, if they can bring artists on a show, a phenomenal brand here, right? So streaming the festival, they can charge for that and hopefully make some money or break even. Sponsorships, as I said, if you involve some, if climate change is your cause and you involve entities that have money that are associated with that cause that want to have their brand out there and raise awareness and help contribute to the fix, there's money to be made here. There's money to be had, but there is not a lot of time. It's Friday, July 26th. And these things are scheduled for August 17th and 18th, 16th, 17th, and 18th. I mean, that is not a lot of time. So there are still a lot of things working against the clock. If you see Woodstock's moving to Maryland, it's not exactly a done deal just yet. There's still a lot of things to be figured out. But again, and you watch and wait and see, image is going to be a big thing. You're going to hear Woodstock talk a lot about climate change, talk a lot about the good causes and the charities they're trying to raise money for. You're going to see that that's going to put additional pressure on the Jay-Z's and the Miley Cyruses and the Killers and all these artists that have image to worry about. A lot of other bands, maybe it's not that big of a deal. They wouldn't feel the pressure necessarily as much as, Jay-Z would, but Jay-Z will definitely be feeling that pressure. And you got Brandy Carlisle, you got David Crosby, Dawes, who we just hung out with last night. Can't wait to share that interview with you. Make sure you join the EHM Insiders to see that first at wehm.com. Does Dawes go? Can they make that work in their crazy tour schedule? Michael Franti and Spearhead, obviously a lot of socially conscious issues and values with Michael. Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, a big part of Farm Aid. So that, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think the lineup collapsing is as simple as people make it out to be. But for sure, you're going to have these agents who are going to say, okay, well, you move the venue. Where's Jay-Z going to stay? How's he going to get in and out? He's got this thing to do the day before. He's got this thing to do the afternoon of. He's got this thing to do the next day. What's the plan? There's a lot of logistics that need to be worked out, both behind the stage and also then for all the people that are going to be in attendance. I will say, though, you're in a major metropolitan area. You're on the East Coast. Philadelphia is what? An hour train ride away. New York's a 3-4 hour ride away. Selling tickets to this, if you can keep even 40 to 30% of this lineup intact, selling tickets, not going to be an issue. Even overpriced tickets, $400-$500, people around here will pay. It'll be a lot easier to sell tickets in the Maryland area than it will be for upstate New York. Logistically, with hotels and everything else, it'll be a lot easier to put this thing on than it would be in upstate New York. By the way, you don't have to worry about plumbing and toilets or food and water. Everything in this facility is already built in to take it. So Woodstock is very alive, my friends. Very, very alive. So for all the people that, this is dead. Why are you talking about this? This is so stupid. Let it go already, Aunt. Those probably are going to be some of the people that are going to buy tickets to this thing, and they're going to be there. And then I'm going to haunt you guys on Twitter. I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys the business. So, we'll keep our eye on it. It really is going to become a game. It really is going to become a game at this point. I'm telling you, those social issues, you're going to see. Watch every time Michael Lang or Woodstock 50 make a statement. They're going to be out there waving that flag like, hey, we're here for climate change. Hey, we're here for peace, love, and music. Hey, we're here to do the right thing. And they're going to make it look like, what do you mean, raconteurs? You're not down for climate change? You're not down for peace, love, and music? Social pressure is going to be put on over the next couple of days. I understand Fogarty pulling out, though. I understand. He's got another gig. He's loyal to the area. He can get away with it. He can get that pass. David Crosby, probably the same thing. Some of the other ones, Janelle Monáe, Imagine Dragons, Cage the Elephant, Sturgill Simpson, the Lumineers. Pressure's going to be put on. Pressure's going to be put on for sure. Can't wait to see what comes of this. Of course, we'll be updating you right here on The Morning Show with Anthony and The Morning Show with Anthony vlog. Catch up on our past episodes at wehm.com under the On Air tab. Click on Anthony.